Hello, incredible people. I am so excited to be back. It's been a very crazy last few months. I have been traveling all over the place, as you've seen if you follow my Instagram, and I also just graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and so I am super excited. I have a couple of different directions that this podcast is going to be going in. So I'm going to just jump right into it. And if you see the title of this, of course, you're going to know that I'm actually giving you guys one of my biggest epiphanies that came with my health in the last couple of years. So yeah, if you're ready, let's dive into it. So when I first started learning about health and wanting to improve mostly my weight, that was pretty much the only thing that I was trying to change about my life. I didn't really want to stop eating the way that I was eating, just to be super blunt and honest about it. I did not want to ditch the bullshit lies that I was telling myself about what was required in order to actually get where I wanted to go. So at that time, my life to be completely honest, it looked like having some kind of dessert every single day as a meal. So whether that was cookie dough for dinner or Oreos for dinner or ice cream for dinner or a combination of the three as like a big giant sundae, and that was my dinner. That was my usual, like almost every single night for at least probably a year, maybe close to 2 years. That was my meal. That was one meal every single day. Like I said, whether that was lunch or dinner, kind of depended on the day, but that almost always happened. And other times, what would happen, again, whether it was lunch or dinner, I would have boxed noodles, which, you can definitely have worse things. But once I started actually learning about health and learning about ingredients and learning about all of these things, I realized how unhelpful prepackaged food items are. And so what I really want to share with you guys today is a couple of different things. So first, the idea of bio-individuality. And so the reason I bring that up is because while I was going through this really weird eating phase, I had just moved out of home, out of my parents' house. I was going to college, and it was kind of one of those rebellious things, where it's like, cool, I'm on my own. I can make whatever I want. I can eat whatever I want. And I wasn't as active as I typically am at that time. I wasn't doing any sports or anything, so I didn't really notice a huge difference other than, weird, I don't really have abs, my arms aren't defined at all, my legs aren't defined at all, and that was pretty much all I cared about. So that's why my goal was to lose weight. So the way I was going about that was actually just checking out tons of different 5-day guides and 14-day guides and 1-month guides that were out on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, wherever I could find them. I was just absolutely scouring up any resources I possibly could for improving what I thought was improving my health. And what I realized was that, all of these free guides and sometimes even paid guides and sometimes even paid coaching that I had got from, random people from well-established brands, I got things from all over the place. And even though these things seemed to work for other people and there were so many testimonials, for some reason it just never seemed to work for me. And so to be completely honest, it took about 4 years for me to finally snap myself out of it and be like, okay, something is not working here. And what I realized was that the reason all of those one-size-fits-all programs weren't working is because I am not everyone, and you aren't everyone. And so that's why I want to share this with you guys today, is because there's this whole idea about bio-individuality, and basically what that is just saying that one person's magic cure could be another person's poison. So let's just use dairy because I think it's a really obvious example. For people who are lactose intolerant, obviously dairy is going to be like a poison to them. It is not going to make them feel good whatsoever. And for someone else, I cannot actually think of a purpose right now, but let's just say that somebody has something and milk is actually really, really good at healing it, at curing it. Let's just say it's like an open wound. By the way, this is totally just made up, so don't try it. Or if you have tried it and it works, I guess let me know. But, if it happened to work really well for an open wound, then for that person, it's going to be really, really amazing. And so really just learning to understand your own individual body is huge. And once I started doing this, it was honestly the biggest epiphany for me because I didn't feel so much pressure and I didn't feel so wrong about why are all of these different diet plans and different meal plans and different workout plans, why are none of them working for me? And I was finally able to flip the tables and say, no, it actually isn't me that's wrong. It's not that the diet isn't working for me, or, that I'm wrong because I can't stick to this diet. It was more so that the diet was wrong for me. Like, that diet wasn't what my body needed. And so if you're still trying to figure out what diet actually works for you, or what meal plan, or what kind of foods are good for your body, like you specifically, not like human beings in general, and if you're still trying to figure out how to lose weight or how to have more energy or anything like that, I have a really, really quick, easy, simple practice that I want you guys to work on for the next week or two, maybe even the next month. And so what this is something called an elimination diet. And if you guys have heard of that before, if you've done it before, awesome. If not, I will really quickly break it down. So basically what it is you test out different foods and literally just see how your body responds. So rather than looking at it as, okay, this is a diet that I'm going to stick to for 30 days, and then I'm going to go back to eating everything that, I cut out during that time, and this is just a really big restriction. The way that I think is the most helpful to actually look at it is just one big, huge test. And really, I do this with everything in my life, whether it's my mindset, food that I'm eating, like really relationships, anything. I just look at it as a test. So I'm just thinking, okay, coffee. This isn't actually an example for me just because I don't actually drink coffee, and I never have. I just don't like it. But we'll say coffee. So if I drink coffee every single day right now, and I'm curious about how it actually affects my body because I really just love the flavor. This is something that I do hear a lot. I really just love the flavor, and I don't feel like I actually get any energy from it. I just love how it tastes. And so maybe I have multiple coffees a day. So what I could do is for a week, I would recommend at least 14 days or more, but however long that you would like to start with, try just cutting it out or replacing it with something else for a bit. And so in my Arbonne business, usually we replace coffee with fizz sticks. They're super duper similar as far as like giving you energy goes, but they don't have, they're like alkaline forming rather than acidic. And the other thing is that they're not going to give you a crash like coffee tends to do. And so, like I said, whether this is actually replacing it with a fizz stick or something else that you actually enjoy, because it's a lot easier to replace a habit than to just cut one out, try replacing that for a week and just see how you feel. And then maybe give it another week, maybe give it 3 weeks, maybe give it a month if you can. The longer that you go, the better, just because that really gives your body a chance to clear its system out and, get rid of the traces of what was there, especially if you've been doing this for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So do that, and then after however long that you're happy to do that for, try just having one again and pay really close attention to how you feel. So the reason that I say I would just start with one at a time. So the most common ones are coffee, alcohol, processed sugar, gluten, dairy, of course, as I mentioned earlier. Those are kind of the biggest ones, and the reason for that is because they're the most addictive, acidic, and inflammatory foods, and absolutely anything disruptive in the body, whether that is the common cold or cancer, and anything in between, it's literally just inflammation. That's all that it is. It's just inflammation in different forms. And so when this is happening, basically your body just needs a chance to clear all that out so that it can kind of get back to a baseline. And then when you add those things back in, you'll be able to tell exactly what things kind of threw your body off and made you feel bloated, gave you headaches, made your nose runny, made you tired, just different things like that. And so that's why I recommend just doing one at a time so that you're very, very clear and certain about what exactly it is that's going on in your body. So just to say that list again and give you guys some ideas. So some of the most common ones that people test are gluten, dairy, soy, alcohol, coffee, and processed sugar. So I would even recommend testing out different kinds of meats, different veggies, different things like that, because everybody, like I said, everybody's totally, totally different. And so this is a really, really good way to start ditching the bullshit around what you actually need to do to hit your goals, whether that is with weight loss goals, whether that's with having more energy, whatever it is. Just this is me letting you know now that, something's got to change in order for things to change. So I hope that this has been helpful for you guys. If it has been, please let me know over on my Instagram. I would love to hear what else you guys want to learn about, and I will be making these once a week from now on, and I'll be doing my best to keep them super quick and to the point, because those are the kind of podcasts I like listening to. So let me know if this was helpful, and I will chat with you next time.